below 2,000, baby. Eden Palms, Monterey Road, I'm a project baby. Eagles Drive, we was at Oak Grove, barely graduated. We got Tasha, Molly, Bodie, Corbett, they gon' have to hate us.
Yeah, we good.
All right. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the New Media Podcast. I'm your host, Ya. We hope you enjoyed the last episode because, as always, today's going to be an even better episode. I got the whole crew with me. Everybody's in the house today. Big H is finally back. So, of course, it's only right that we talk about our Week 11 predictions. And we're also going to be playing a little bit of a game today, Start, Bench, Cut, NFL Edition. Before we jump into our topics, of course, temperature check. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling?
I'm good, man.
Good to be back, man. Seattle took an L last week, but
they said you was dodging.
I wasn't dodging it. I was enjoying a nice little vacation, but I'm back this week. We got a bye, but we'll be back next week.
Nah, that's good. We're not moving on until we get your thoughts on this game because me and Abdi, we said our piece, so I need to hear what went wrong, man. And the fans got to hear about it too.
First half was extremely slow, man. I felt like we kicked off with the ball. We didn't do much on the offensive side. We let them get into the run game, and they kind of started off picking us apart in the play action, especially with Tom Brady. That was just his go-to. Mike Evans didn't really have a big game, but Fournette, Rashard White, Godwin, they kind of started up early, and they picked us apart that first half. And we were playing comeback in the second half. So I felt like we could have won the game, but we had a couple turnovers in the end zone with Geno throwing a pick, Geno having a fumble in the end zone. But, hey, it is what it is, man. We got to learn from our mistakes. We got to start off faster, and we got to keep it pushing. So on to the next game, but I felt like we let this one go. I don't think the Tampa offense was really – they didn't come out on all attack. Like I didn't.
Thank you, but I literally said this isn't a game to say. Yeah. I'm not gonna say they're like back after this. Like not enough for me to say that.
I'm not gonna say they were back. They played a good game, but to me the offense really didn't. It didn't seem too much to me. Like especially in the second half. I don't think they scored a touchdown second half only. I'm too sure.
So. Yeah, they did. They did score.
Yeah, that was about it for them. So. I want to say they're back, but, 2 games in a row for them, they're kind of getting in the flow. Who knows what can happen after their bye week, especially if they do get some players back on the offensive end and the defensive end, it could be a little different. So for us, get back, get healthy, come back, draw on board, and kick off next week.
All right, well, very, very well said. But, of course, let's go ahead and jump right into Week 11. The very first game that's going to kick off Week 11, we have the Tennessee Titans on the road playing the Green Bay Packers.
Bro, give me my Packers, man. This is about as confident as I've been in a while. The reasons why I picked this game is because I feel like this last game that we had against the Cowboys was our best of this season. And I feel like offensively we looked really good. And this Titans team, of course, we know Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry, and we've been getting destroyed on the ground. But at the same time, they just don't have threats on the outside. And, of course, Ryan Tannehill is better than what Malik Willis was offering. But so at the same time, there's a crazy stat that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle have more receiving yards than a bunch of teams, and within that was the Tennessee Titans. So they don't really have a bunch of talent on the outside, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that we're gonna just destroy them like the old Green Bay Packers. But I feel like this is a game that we need in terms of just keeping that momentum going. So I'm rock with Aaron Rodgers in this one. I feel like this is the week that we get it done again. So give me the Packers.
I felt like last week was a one-out week for the Packers. They seen the Cowboys. They love the Cowboys. To them, Cowboys is free food. And especially the last couple, I can say the last 5 years, you guys have been getting your ones in against the Cowboys. So I'm going to rock with the Titans this week. I'm going to go with Derrick Henry in the winter, in the cold, and that defense again. The Titans, they're on a little war right now. They got Tannehill back. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go with the Titans, Derrick Henry, and let's go.
Yeah, I'm not a matter of my word if I pick the Packers. I said after a couple of weeks ago when they lost to the Lions, I'm never picking them again. So I'm going to go ahead and rock with the Tennessee Titans here. I think they have a very, very, very simple game plan. They're going to come in there and feed Derrick Henry the ball, and Derrick Henry might just go for maybe 150 yards and a touchdown. Ryan Tannehill, he looked better than Malik Willis, of course, and with him back, it gives the Tennessee Titans a better chance at winning football games. So give me the Titans here. The Packers, I'll never be sold on them this entire season at any point. They can win 6 straight games. I'm still going to go against them. So go ahead and give me the Titans.
I appreciate the free pick. I appreciate it. Those are free points right there.
It's going to be an easy win for my Titans, man. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Chicago Bears on the road playing the Atlanta Falcons.
This one's weird to me. What's this? I feel like Atlanta is favored in this one.
Atlanta -3.
I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate this because part of me wants to say the Falcons, but I don't know. Like I'm gonna go with Justin Fields in this one. With the way he's been playing and what I've seen from Marcus Mariota is just not enough for me to side like with the Falcons, even though I feel like they have the better talent on the outside. Maybe this is a week that they get their guys involved, but I just don't see it with Marcus Mariota. I'm gonna go with Justin Fields in this one.
And both teams are horrible, so I'm gonna go with the player that I like more, and right now that's been cooking up the last 4.5, 5 weeks. So I'm gonna go with Justin Fields. I'm going with the Bears.
I think I'm gonna go Falcons here. And don't get me wrong, Justin Fields, he's been balling out these last couple of weeks. Once again, another 4 touchdown performance on Sunday. But I feel like this time around, Atlanta coming off a bad loss to the Carolina Panthers, they're coming back home, and the Bears, they just lost the Detroit Lions, and Detroit Lions one of the worst teams in the league. So I think the game plan for them going into Sunday, it should be very, very simple if they're listening to me. Give Cordell Patterson the ball, get Drake London and Kyle Pitts involved early. Marcus Mariota, rush from time to time here and there, make some couple throws. And I just trust their defense more than I do the Chicago Bears. So Justin Fields, I'm pretty sure he'll have himself one hell of a day, of course, fantasy wise and real life wise. But I just feel like the Falcons just have a lot more talent on the offensive side of the ball, and they'll be able to get the job done here. So give me the Falcons. The next game, the Cleveland Browns on the road playing the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills coming off 2 back-to-back losses. What are we saying here?
Give me the Buffalo Bills. But like before, how we would used to say like, give me the Bills easily, like they're gonna dominate like early part of the season. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're just gonna dominate the Browns, but I feel like Josh Allen coming into this game, he knows what he's been producing these last couple of weeks has just been unacceptable from his standards. So he's gonna come in here with a clear plan of just getting the job done. He knows that he has to be better. So give me the Buffalo Bills in this one. What's the spread on this? I'm curious.
Bills -8.
Do they cover that?
That's tough.
I mean, the Cleveland Browns defense has not been good. They have not been good. 8. Nah, I just don't see them covering that.
I'm gonna take the Bills, but I feel like it's gonna be a close game than that spread that they gave out. Bills losing back-to-back games these last 2 weeks to the Jets and now to the Vikings. I felt like they got to get back on road, sitting third in their division, and the Browns it's an opportunity for them to get a W with no Deshaun Watson on the field and an unhealthy defense for the Browns. So I got the Bills coming in. I don't expect it to be a blowout, but I expect them to grind out a W.
I think this is a get right week for the Buffalo Bills. They're in a very, very good spot. Another home game in front of their home crowd. So I'll take the Bills, of course. Do I believe they'll cover the spread? Probably not. I think they won by like maybe a touchdown. The Cleveland Browns, their season is pretty much done because there was a lot of games in the beginning of the season where we thought, it could have gone either way, and they're in a lot of very, very winnable games. But we thought if only Jacoby Brissett can hold down the fort just a little bit up until Deshaun Watson comes back in early December. It hasn't looked like it at all. They're sitting right now with a record of 3-6, and they're pretty much out of the playoffs. Deshaun Watson's pretty much only coming back simply just to get his legs up from under him after not playing for so long. The Brown season is over. Give me the Bills right here. This is the perfect get right game for them. Josh Allen, all the turnovers he's had, all the chatter. I'm sure he hears it all each and every week. But this is the week where he kind of reminds people who he is. So I'll predict that he doesn't necessarily turn over the ball at all in this game. I think he secures the ball. No silly plays, no forced passes. I think everything's just going to go perfect for this Buffalo Bills football team. So go ahead and give me the Bills. We'll move on to the next game. The Philadelphia Eagles on the road playing the Indianapolis Colts. Eagles finally got a loss on Monday night to the Washington Commanders.
Give me the Philadelphia Eagles. I feel like now the pressure's off of them after going undefeated, and they finally lost the game. So I feel like this is a game where it's just they need to go back to their standards. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles in this one. They're the better football team to me. But what is gonna be a key in this game is can they stop Jonathan Taylor after how good he looked this last game? I mean, welcome back JT, like we said, and can they stop the run? That's been a weakness of the Eagles with Jordan Davis out. Are they able to contain the run? That's a question mark, but I'm still gonna rock with the Eagles. I feel like they're just a much more talented team.
I'm gonna rock with the Eagles as well. They like I said that against the Commanders it was gonna be a tough game, divisional game for them, and I felt like it was. Commanders grinded that one out, got the W, but against the Colts, I don't see the Colts doing much against the Eagles. I feel like they're gonna come back this week, get back to their football, control the game how they control and win. I mean, last week, Jonathan Taylor, it's against the Raiders. I give him that 1 week, but I don't see this happening again. So I'm rocking with the Eagles, 9-1.
As a fantasy owner of Jonathan Taylor, that's something I definitely don't want to hear. I really hope he continues this and finally, keeps the juices going and everything flowing. But go ahead, give me the Eagles here. I said this in our last episode. The Eagles pretty much beat themselves, and I'm just gonna have to write this one off as, just a very very bad loss. A lot of fumbles. Jalen Hurts threw an interception that he didn't necessarily need to throw. Everything just went wrong for them to lose that game. It was like the missed face mask call from the referees that costed them a fumble. Yeah, a lot of things had to go wrong for the Washington Commanders to win that game. So there's not much I can really say about this Eagles football team. They're still a very, very good team. And now, like Abdi said, with the added pressure finally off the backs of their shoulder off their shoulders, I think they'll come in here. This is a good spot for them to, just to get the season back rolling and just come in here and dominate the game from start to finish. But go ahead and give me the Eagles. And we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The New York Jets are on the road playing the New England Patriots.
This isn't I'm not gonna sit here and say this is a trap game because I feel like it can go either way. Like this is a sneaky game. I believe they already played, right? And the Patriots won. That was a mid-off. What am
The
I
mid-off,
saying? The
Zach
mid-off.
Wilson and Mac Jones.
Belichick, man. Do I really want to go against him, man? Like he smells blood in this division. Like he smells blood, man. But give me the Jets, man. That defense. Like we're talking about a defensive matchup. This is gonna be a defensive matchup if I ever seen one. Both teams have great defenses. I feel like the Jets have a clear structure, at least offensively, with running the ball, and I just feel like they have identity offensively that the Patriots lack at times, and I just don't trust Mac Jones versus that defense. So, give me the Jets in this one.
I'm picking Belichick. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about this last time. Belichick, he came in, put on defensive mastermind, defensive class, locked down the Jets completely, and came out with the W. So I'm gonna pick the Patriots again this week. I'm gonna rock with Belichick, and I'm gonna rock with their NPCs on their defensive side of the ball. Then those new guys that he brings up, pops up, and finds these gems out of nowhere. Hey, it's a Belichick charm. So if I'm going in on a Sunday and it's a Jets versus Patriots matchup, 10 times out of 10, I got to go with Belichick. So let's go Patriots.
Yeah, I picked Mac Jones to win this game last time, and I'm not going to go ahead and as far as say he was the whole reason why they won that last time. Zach Wilson played terrible. I think he threw 3 interceptions that looked just stupid out there on the football field. But go ahead and give me the Patriots here. They're coming off their bye week. A lot of their guys are going to be healthy. Bill Belichick, anytime he plays a team in his division, he's always going to, coach up his guys 100%. So I'm going to go ahead and rock with them. The game plan is pretty simple. Mac Jones, just be the game manager that you are right now. Ramondre Stevenson has to be heavily involved on the ground, and maybe you throw in Damian Harris even here and there, but very, very simple game plan. Ramondre Stevenson has to be successful on the ground. Their defense has to show up, and I have no doubt that they will. And then Mac Jones just not turn over the ball. So to give this team a chance. But I'll go ahead and take the Patriots here. The spread is -3. I think they win this game by like 6. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Los Angeles Rams on the road playing the New Orleans Saints. We just got word today that Cooper Kupp has officially gone on IR due to a very, very high ankle sprain. The rest of his season is in doubt. I personally don't think he'll be back this entire season simply because they're not in contention. But what do you guys think?
Like what makes this game a bit tricky for me to pick, right? Like after you mentioned that Cooper Kupp news, like I think, okay, let me go with the Saints in this one. But the issue is that quarterback, like, why does Dennis Allen have such a refusal to start Jameis Winston? Like even now, like this situation, we don't understand who's going to be starting quarterback incoming to this week. Like everything is ambiguous when it's clear that the offense at least looks better with Jameis Winston, or at least has potential to be better with Jameis Winston than it does with Andy Dalton starting at quarterback. And then Like on the Saints, their offensive line just keeps going from bad to worse. Like they're suffering a lot of injuries. So I'm not gonna sit here and think, well, Cooper Cup is gone. Now they're just gonna outright like beat them. It's like one of those games that might be tricky because on one side, Matthew Stafford was dealing with injuries, and they had their backup quarterback, but John Walford or something like that, starting for them, versus Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston, whoever's starting for them. I'm just go with the Saints because I feel like I'm gonna take a guess that they might put in Jameis Winston. I'm gonna go with that. And I feel like with a lack of Cooper Cup, it's tough. Like, where's the offense gonna come from? Who's gonna get the ball? With no Cooper Cup, where are you gonna go now? Your offense was already struggling with Cooper Cup. Imagine Cooper Cup's gone now. So, give me the Saints in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock with the Saints. Felt like Cooper Cup was 98% of that offense. Now you got 98% of your offense gone, and ain't nobody else. Who are they gonna pass the ball to? Stafford hasn't been playing well. The defense has been playing iffy. So I'm gonna go with the Saints, although they got a problem as well with the quarterback issue on their side. Dennis Allen, I don't think he's a good coach. I always thought he was a bad coach, and it's a toss up. I don't know who to pick, but I'm gonna rock with Alvin Kamara in the Saints defense. Not Andy Dalton, Dennis Allen, but Kamara in the defense. So let's go Saints.
Andy Dalton will not be the starting quarterback on Sunday. I'll go ahead and predict that. I think Jameis Winston finally returns back under center, and that's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and rock with the New Orleans Saints, just like you guys, simply because the upgrade from Andy Dalton to Jameis Winston is very, very huge for this team. Chris Olave is still there. Alvin Kamara is still there. I think he'll be more involved in this game. And Matthew Stafford, of course, he was only throwing a Cooper Cup, like Big H said. So like 98% of your offense is gone. Who are you going to trust? Tyler Higbee, Allen Robinson, Ben Skronik? Like I just can't see that. I'll believe it when I'll believe it when I see it. So that's kind of where I'm at with this Rams team. Their season is pretty much done, sitting at a record of 3-6, and you just lost your wide receiver one for pretty much the rest of the season. He's on the IR for 4 weeks. 4 weeks from now, you can have 4 losses, and you could be sitting at a record of 3-10. So, do you really want to bring him back at that point? You might as well look towards the future, look towards next year. You don't want to re-aggravate that injury and make it worse. So, go ahead and give me the Saints. I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm very, very confident in this one. This one I wouldn't say it can go either way, but I just like the Saints a lot more in this matchup. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Detroit Lions on the road playing the New York Giants.
Give me the Giants, the better football team. That Lions defense is just garbage. And even still with the Foot Locker wide receivers that Daniel Jones has, he still has Saquon Barkley, and he's been playing well, enough for them to get wins. So, and that defense is like stellar. Like Gu mentioned, that defense has just been solid all season. So give me the Giants in this game. I think the Lions are just going to continue to struggle.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Giants as well. They're very well coached team. They don't have much receivers on their team, but Saquon, Daniel Jones, they've been playing very phenomenal. That defense is playing fantastic. So I got the Giants over the Lions. Let's go Giants.
Something's telling me this one's a very, very. I wouldn't go as far as say it was a trap game, but there's something weird about this game. But I'll go ahead and take the Giants just to be safe. I think the Giants, a little bit of a downfall, will be on the way soon when they run into the Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles and the Minnesota Vikings in coming weeks. But I think they're good enough to come in here and get a win against the Detroit Lions. Their game plan for them, get Saquon Barkley the ball. I believe he had over 30 touches last week, 154 yards and a touchdown. He's just been balling out this year, man. All credit to him. I just made a trade for him in fantasy, so I'm rocking with that guy for the rest of the year. So give me the Giants in this spot. We'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Carolina Panthers are on the road playing the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens coming off their bye week.
2 words: Lamar Jackson. That's it for me. They're winning this game.
What he said.
I'm gonna pick the Ravens as well. But I'm interested to see how this offense looks like without we saw them without Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. And then we saw a little bit of just with Mark Andrews in that Giants game when they lost. So I'm really interested to see how they come out, because of course you can come out of the bye very sluggish, or you can come out gunslinging. So, but with this Ravens team, I think they're just going to run the ball in this game, and Lamar Jackson probably won't crack over 200 passing yards. Probably be somewhere around 180. He might do his damage on the ground when he rushes for maybe 120 yards and gets a touchdown. So, go ahead and give me the Ravens in this one. But we'll go ahead and move on to the very first, no, not the afternoon games just yet. We have one more 10 o'clock game. The Washington Commanders on the road playing the Houston Texans.
So I'm gonna probably end up picking the Commanders in this one, but like it kind of makes me uneasy when a team has one win because it's like when you have one win, like you might bite for that second win. You might be dying for that second win, but just give me the Commanders in this one with how Taylor Heineke's been playing. Like someone mentioned, this guy just has that dog in him. Like he has that dog.
And he got that swagger when it comes to the field.
This
Though.
guy,
I ain't gonna lie.
this guy's confidence is just ridiculous, and I'm gonna keep rocking with him. I don't know why the Commanders would even think if Carson Wentz comes back that he deserves to be over Taylor Heineke. I know Terry McLaurin is wishing that doesn't happen. Not the same for Curtis Samuel. He's probably wishing Carson Wentz comes back, but that's a different story. But give me the Commanders in this one. The Texans are just struggling, and their only source of offense is Dameon Pierce. So, Commanders.
I'm gonna go with the Commanders as well. They're sitting at 5-5. Ever since Heineke came in for them, man, they've been balling. They've been hooping. So I think the last 6 games they won 4 and the other 2 they lost was extremely close games. So I'm gonna take the Commanders. The run game, Ryan Robinson, he's been playing well. Scary Terry's getting his catches, and that defense is looking great in that division. That defense is looking phenomenally well, and they still haven't had their best player back. You know, Chase Young's still on the sideline. Once he comes back, it might be a different look for them. So I got the Commanders coming in and winning this game.
Yeah, this one was pretty easy for me. I think the Washington Commanders, they're going to reel off with the momentum that they got, beating the Philadelphia Eagles, who are undefeated on the road, which is very, very impressive. Like you guys said, man, Taylor Heineke, there's just something about him when he's a starting quarterback for that franchise. And I just one thing I didn't like where they put the Cartier shades on him and they put the chains on him. Like, why are you still in our flow, man? That's our thing, you know.
Nah, his is more authentic. I ain't gonna lie.
His is icy. I can't lie.
Yeah,
That was
his is
icy.
more authentic.
He's
You know what I'm saying?
cold,
Like,
man.
and he just sitting down. You know what I'm saying? Had a beer in his hand, just chilling. You
Put
know,
on the
y'all caught a
glasses.
little too much for him. Y'all, you know, he could. And him hitting the little dance in his seat is like, yeah, authentic. But Kirk, I don't know.
Come on, man. We started that trend, man. But that's their guy going forward, man. I pray to God they don't bring back Carson Wentz. I think Ron Rivera, what he said in his press conference, you know, you never know. It's a week to week thing with that type of situation. But I think Tyler Heineke, he's going to be a starting quarterback moving forward. So give me the Commanders in this one. But we'll go ahead and move on to America's game of the week. The Dallas Cowboys are on the road playing my Minnesota Vikings.
Dallas is favored in this one. I feel like it, right?
Dallas -1. Very, very disrespectful.
That's a crazy spread, though. -1. Damn. Nah, give me the Vikings in this one. If anything that the Packers showed is that there's holes in this Dallas defense. There's legit holes that can be exploited in this Dallas defense. And even on the ground, Aaron Jones had success. Of course, Christian Watson had a monster game. Aaron Rodgers picked them apart. Just all 3 levels, they just got destroyed. And I feel like this Dallas defense is success. Like you can have success against this team on every single level. So give me the Vikings this one. I mean, they're the team that's surging, and this Dallas defense, like it's been up and down at times. And I mean, I just don't see it. I don't know why they're favored in this one. It's kind of odd to me that coming off a loss from the Packers, who have been struggling, that they're the favorite in this matchup. It's kind of crazy to me. But give me the Vikings in this one.
I feel like this is going to be a tough matchup. I ain't going to lie. We say that spread for Dallas is -1 is crazy. I don't think it's crazy. I do believe both teams are
But in Dallas's favor, though?
I feel like both teams are evenly matched. It can go either way. It can go either way. I'm just saying it can go either way. Don't give me that look, y'all. Like,
go against this. I dare you.
I'm not going against y'all. I'm just saying.
Come on, man.
At the 9 games this season, man, 7 of y'all games have been extremely close.
Yeah, we're like that in crunch time.
Money. Crunch time, y'all like that, but I don't know. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings, but I feel like this is gonna be I feel like this is the week the Cowboys come back and get it. But I'm gonna go with the Vikings, just off of JJ and Cook. I feel like these 2 guys are gonna come in and tear up that defense, especially JJ. You know, getting his ones with Trayvon Diggs. Big yards can be made. Big yards can happen in this game, especially with the Vikings offense. So I'm gonna rock with their offense and their defense. It's a bend don't break type defense, and when it matters, they show up and play good. So I'm gonna rock with the Vikings.
There's pretty much no doubt who I'm going with in this game. Vegas they're pretty confused on who to, put down as a favorite. Dallas -1. They're just not too confident. I don't know why they don't believe in us after we just got a win in Buffalo the way we did. But enough of talking about that game. I've had my fun with that one. But I think we just come in here and we win this game simply because, like Abdi said, there's a few holes in this Dallas defense. Their secondary got a little bit exposed against the Green Bay Packers. Trayvon Diggs, of course, he can hold his own, but everybody else, can you hold your own? Christian Watson, somebody who hasn't really been playing well this entire season, goes off against you for 3 touchdowns. And you don't want to have that type of problem when you run into the Minnesota Vikings, because we have a lot of playmakers on our team, and we just added another guy, TJ Hawkinson, into the mix. And then with Aaron Jones being so successful on the ground, this is a very, very good opportunity for my guy Dalvin Cook to come in here and have another 120-yard scrimmage game and a touchdown. We can go ahead and book that right now. I think he comes in here and he just gashes these guys from start to finish. We feed off him. He's gonna set the tone for us on offense. And Justin Jefferson, he's gonna have himself one hell of a day. He might finish with maybe 6-7 catches, 130 yards, and he might find the end zone.
How you feel about that matchup?
Oh,
versus
that's cook food,
Jefferson.
man. That's cook food.
I don't know. Last year
we took care of his brother last week, right? We're gonna take care of the other brother this week. That's how I think about it.
Last year was a different story, though.
I think last year had more to do with Kirk Cousins not being good in that game than it was Justin Jefferson not being able to create separation against Trayvon Diggs. I think Justin Jefferson pretty much wins that matchup. Who knows if he's going to travel with him, because of course we line up JJ all over the field. But this Dallas defense, they look good in the beginning of the year. We were talking highly about them and how they might be a top defense in the NFL, but these last couple of weeks, their true colors have been shown. And the way our defense has been playing, I like the way we've been playing these last couple of weeks. We've been generating a lot of turnovers, a lot of pressures at the quarterbacks, Darius Smith, Daniel Hunter, and all those boys up front. And then we have Harrison Smith and Patrick Peterson in the back. So I've done enough talking about this game. Go ahead and give me the Vikings. I think we win this game by like a touchdown. I'll go ahead and say that.
If you lose this game, does that change any outlook for you on the season? Like how do you feel about your team if you lose this game? Because I feel like this is a marquee matchup, though.
It's a marquee matchup, but I feel like last week's game was more important than this week's game. When we look at
that is true.
2 weeks ago, like we're playing the Buffalo Bills and the Dallas Cowboys back-to-back weeks. Which game is more important? I believe that the Buffalo Bills matchup was more important. We got the more important win in my eyes. So that doesn't take away anything. I don't want to set up myself for any excuse coming here on Monday. But to be honest, it also depends on how we come out as a team and how we play, because of course we just had a very, very big one. We got to push up. We got to reel off that. And Kirk Cousins said this best. Like it's good to get these wins and build momentum moving forward, but we need to win games in different fashions. We can't be, always in all these close affairs where we're coming back from behind in the fourth quarter or we're winning by a touchdown and less than that. We need to win convincingly, and I think that's what we need to do here in Dallas. And I think this is a good spot for us. We're coming back home. Where the iron is hot and we got to strike while it's hot. So go ahead and give me the Minnesota Vikings. We'll move on to the next game. This one's a little interesting, though. The Las Vegas Raiders on the road playing the Denver Broncos.
This is hilarious. This is two teams who are coming into the season where we kind of had there's mixed opinions on the podcast regarding who would finish higher than the other, but we can all agree both of these teams had high expectations, at least for making the playoffs or having a positive record. And now heading into week 11, both these teams have been an absolute disappointment. And I don't even know who we can consider the bigger disappointment, because on one end you have a team that just traded a whole haul of players to a different team that's supposed to be in a rebuild that's better than them. You have Russell Wilson, who's just been absolutely just terrible. There's no other words to describe how bad he's been this season. Just looks like a shell of himself. On the other side, you have a team that just loaded up on offense. You have a team with Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs. And coming to the season, we thought they were going to be one of the better offenses in the NFL. And this has been a disappointment. Of course, there's been a couple injuries here and there, but you still have amazing weapons. And for them to be sitting at a terrible record like this, I don't know who's the bigger disappointment. But coming into this game, I'm gonna go with the Raiders, because defensively they're terrible, but what have the Broncos shown us that they can pick apart a defense? There's a crazy stat. I think that if the Broncos had scored at least 18 or 20 points in every game this season, they probably would have won almost all their games. And they're unable to score like that. They don't have an offense to produce. So just give me the Raiders in this one. There's no way. How can the Broncos pick apart a defense that they don't have offense for? So give me the Raiders.
I wish I had a coin to flip. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I can't find one. So I'm gonna flip this bottle cap. You feel me? Tails is gonna be the open side. The top side is gonna be heads. Let's
No,
go.
bottle caps for Broncos or Raiders. Crazy.
I lost the bottle cap, but we found another one, so I'm gonna pick the Broncos on this one. Let's
The
go.
Broncos. But I don't know what. I don't feel like this is a 50-50 matchup.
Man,
Like I
it's
just
just
don't feel like
it's
it.
just like that Rams. It's just like that Rams Cardinals matchup last week.
The Broncos offense stinks though. Like
And
they just smell.
Raiders offense is just up there as well. Like they score.
No, I mean the Raiders offense
come out
can
quick.
like.
They come out quick, and then after that, it's just in shambles.
I mean,
And it's
we are getting a Devontae versus Patrick Surtain matchup.
It's a great Broncos defense we're talking about too. It's not like they're bad on that side of the ball. So you can say, hey, the Raiders
Our offense literally like bottom 3 in the league though.
Bro, if I played defense for the Denver Broncos, I would go home with my head hot after every game. Like the Titans only put up 17 points last week, and the offense I think put up 10 points. Like you guys couldn't, the offense couldn't match the Tennessee Titans. Like, bro, I'd be so pissed, man. Like,
yeah, I mean,
the defense is holding its own every game. It's just the offense is not doing nothing this season, man. It's ridiculous.
like I said,
But
bottle cap toss. I'm going with the Broncos.
I ain't going with the Broncos, man. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders. Derek Carr, man. You know those fake tears. It didn't get to me. I think they're all fake. But I think him and Devontae Adams, you know, they've been cooking up this entire season. Just hasn't reflected into wins. But I think they just come in here. Big H, you mentioned how the Raiders always start off high. At least they start off hot. Give me 17 points on the Denver defense. I think that's good enough to get the win. I don't trust Russell Wilson.
That's true. That's true.
So I'll just go ahead and take the Raiders simply because just not much to say about this Broncos team, man. But the thing is, though, I did pick the Broncos to beat the Las Vegas Raiders in Vegas when I think they're on like a 2-game losing streak. So, but in this spot, I'm going with the Raiders. So give me the Raiders. But we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. The Cincinnati Bengals, coming off their bye, are on the road playing their Week 1 matchup, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Like divisional games are. What's the spread on this?
The spread on this is Cincinnati Bengals -4.5.
Divisional games are a bit like tricky, especially with like the Steelers defense getting back TJ Watt. Like they can cause havoc to Joe Burrow.
Is TJ Watt back this week?
I believe so.
I believe he's ready. He's gonna be playing this week. I think he played a little bit last week too.
He played a little bit last week as well.
Sorry, I was on yesterday's episode, so I couldn't confirm. But is Minkah back too?
Minkah didn't play last week against the Saints, but I think it's just probably week to week with him. There's no status update so far.
Man, this Bengals offense, like, are we trusting that 45-point gimmick? Like the Joe Mixon monster day. Are we really gonna trust that? But just give me the Bengals in this one because like they have better weapons. I still don't trust this Steelers offense. Of course, their defense has some playmakers, but I just don't see enough from this offense. Like I'm not buying that Najee Harris finally having a good game for once. I'm just not buying into that. Just no. Give me the Bengals this one. Better offense.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals, man. We seen Week 1 when they play the Steelers that defensive masterclass by the Steelers. You know, everybody on that defense turned up. They forced like 5 turnovers on Burrows, but I think it's different this week. I felt like the Bengals are gonna come out, although they're missing Jamar Chase. I feel like they control the game more and they get the dub. I can't trust that Steelers offense. So let's go Bengals.
I'm gonna go ahead and take the Bengals simply because the way they've been playing this entire season, it's been up and down, hot and cold. But the last week going into the bye week where Joe Mixon rushed for 5 touchdowns, they look bad on Monday night against the Cleveland Browns without Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase is still not healthy. He still can't walk without crutches, so he's going to be out for a couple more weeks. But I think this is pretty much a walk in the park for them. You know, they're going to be pissed off from that Week 1 loss, and I know they remember that shit in the back of their heads. They're going to come back and they're going to come into this game and probably dominate from start to finish, simply because it's a divisional game. But I'll go ahead and take the Cincinnati Bengals. Do I believe they cover the spread? I think they win this game by 10 points. Maybe Joe Burrow doesn't even play in the fourth quarter. So
10 points is kind of crazy for a divisional game.
It's a
especially
little,
without Jamar Chase.
it's a little crazy, but I think T Higgins and Tyler Boyd, they're gonna have themselves one hell of a day. Those guys are gonna go off. Joe Mixon, I don't think of course, he won't replicate that 5 touchdown game, but I think he'll be successful on the ground. So, give me the Bengals in this spot. We'll go ahead and move on to our Sunday night matchup. This game got flexed into Sunday night. The last game, the Bengals and Steelers, was on Sunday night, but now we have the Chiefs on the road playing the Los Angeles Chargers.
Give me Patrick Mahomes. You know, if Justin Herbert had all of his weapons, had all like his team was healthy, then we can like discuss, because like every time he matches up with Patrick Mahomes, of course, they're gonna put on a show. But give me the guy that's red hot, the MVP front runner, the guy who I think will win the MVP. Just give me that. Patrick Mahomes. That's all I need to say. Because this Chargers team is just struggling with injuries. Their offense has just looked clunky. It's just been an up and down season. So give me Patrick Mahomes on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs on this one. Offensive side of the ball, they're still missing their big play receivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and you can't really do much with a guy named Carter and a guy named Palmer as a receiver. So Mahomes leading the MVP race right now. Chiefs are hitting on all cylinders, so I got the Chiefs.
These guys, man, I don't know why they put this game out of all games on Sunday night. Like, I understand the matchup, divisional game, Chiefs, Chargers, is always a good show, but the league knows Keenan Allen's hamstring is coming off the bone, and Mike Williams, he might be able to go this week. He's practiced on Monday, but go ahead and give me the Chiefs here. I don't really have much to say. Like, Patrick Mahomes has been dominating this entire season, and that's just gonna keep on rolling. He has the Los Angeles Chargers numbers. Like, we've seen this time and time again. These two teams match up every year twice, and I think the last time these guys won, if I remember correctly, I think Phillip Rivers was a starting quarterback. So I'm not confident at all in the Los Angeles Chargers to come out and win this game. So I'm taking the Chiefs, and their spread is -6.5. I honestly think, even if it's a divisional game, I think they probably win this by a touchdown or maybe even 10 points. So go ahead and give me the Chiefs. We'll move on to our Monday night showdown. This game will be played in Mexico City. The San Francisco 49ers, just coming off a Sunday night football win against the Los Angeles Chargers, are pretty much on the road, playing the Arizona Cardinals in New Mexico City.
Give me the 49ers in this one, just because I don't know, I trust their offense a lot more than I do with the Cardinals. Like, I just feel like the Cardinals offense just been struggles, and this Niners defense is just gonna harass them. And I don't like this whole little committee they got going on with like Christian McCaffrey. Like, I don't know, I'm just a fan of just getting Christian McCaffrey the ball. Like, there's a reason why you traded for him. Like, I get you're trying to maybe whether it's a combination of just change of pace, like switching it up and making sure that he's fresh. But like, I feel like he just got to be a lot more involved for this offense to really take off. So give me the 49ers in this one.
Warzone's coming out tonight. Actually, the download has already released. Kyler Murray's not going to be available this week, and I'm going to take the 49ers. I feel like they're just going to come in and abuse that team, like it's going to be bad, especially on the offensive side of the ball with IU, Kittle, McCaffrey, Debo, Jimmy G, even Jimmy G. I'm going to give a little respect to Jimmy G this time because he comes in, sort of hoops, controls the game, and they win a lot. But I'd be said about the McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell. I don't like what Kyle Shanahan's doing with this. You traded for a star running back. Let him get his 30 touches, 14 carries to me is just like, and then letting Mitchell touch the ball 21 times, it's kind of crazy, So I got the Niners coming in and cooking up, and good luck with Mr. Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty easy. I mean, I can see why they would put this game on Monday night, simply because it's a divisional game between the Niners and Cardinals. Whether or not Kyler Murray plays, it's not much of a difference in my opinion. Go ahead and give me the Niners in this spot. And I kind of disagree with your point for as to the little split carrying timeshare they got with CMC and Elijah Mitchell. You want to preserve that guy as much as you can moving into the playoffs, and especially with all the investments that went into that. You traded a lot of your picks away. You stacked up, and you're pretty much in a situation where you want to win now. Why would you risk CMC, who has an injury history longer than a phone book, in just the regular season. It doesn't make any sense. So I understand, like Elijah Mitchell getting 18 carries and CMC coming in there for 13, 14 touches. It might be enough for you to win some weeks, and it was just enough for them to win against the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday night. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, will they be more involved in this game? I hope so. Jimmy G, he has a record of 10-2, I believe, when he throws for 0 touchdowns. It's a crazy stat to me because everybody hates on Jimmy G, and then they have this stat to use now. A guy not throwing a touchdown, but you have 10 wins and 2 losses. But I have the Niners to come in here and they're going to win this game comfortably. They're going to abuse whoever's under center, Colt McCoy or Kyler Murray. DeAndre Hopkins might have himself a interesting day because that's DeAndre Hopkins. The Niners secondary isn't necessarily the greatest, but yeah, it's just going to be a long day for the Arizona Cardinals. And Cliff Kingsbury, man, his job is pretty much gone after this season, man. I watched a couple of clips in the locker room. I believe right now they have the Hard Knocks in season going on for them. A couple episodes have dropped. I've seen a couple of clips, and things just aren't going good for that franchise right now. So they're moving in a different direction. But go ahead and give me the Niners in this one. But that pretty much wraps up week 11 of the NFL season. The teams that we have on bye are, let me go ahead and pull that up for us. The teams that we have on bye are Seattle Seahawks. Hold on, it's not even showing me.
Tampa Bay.
Wow, I can't even see it. But I believe the Seattle Seahawks are on bye. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on bye. The Miami Dolphins are on bye. Who else is on bye?
Bills?
No, Bills are playing.
No, Bills are playing. That can't pretty much wrap it up. There's no way. I have to fact check that. Give me 1 second. But we'll go ahead and while I fact check that, we'll go ahead and move on to our NFL edition of Start Bench Cut for this NFL season. And we'll go ahead and kick off with quarterbacks Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert.
Start Lamar Jackson, bench Joe Burrow, cut Justin Herbert. Simple as that for me, because I feel like Lamar, like unanimous MVP. This guy has more accolades than these guys. He's an all-pro quarterback, and I feel like he hasn't had the weapons that these two have had, and he's been producing it at an amazing level. So if he were ever to get weapons, if the Ravens were ever to invest into him, it'd be scary. And for the reason why I'm benching Joe Burrow is because I feel like the guy that went to the Super Bowl deserves this honor. Led one of the most explosive offenses in the league, and just overall just a solid quarterback. With regards to Justin Herbert, the reason why I'm cutting Justin Herbert is I feel like there's too many excuses that are created for Justin Herbert that are not given to a lot of other quarterbacks, especially to Lamar Jackson. Last year when Lamar Jackson was struggling with a bad offensive line, no wide receiver play whatsoever, a horrible offensive play calling, nobody was offering him those same excuses. People were talking about, look at his stats. He has 16 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Oh, Lamar's terrible. Justin Herbert's better. Now this year, Justin Herbert is facing similar circumstances. It's he's dealing with an injury. Look at all these guys that he's missing. So I'm just not down for that thing where excuses are made for one player and it's not for the other. So
I'm going with start Lamar, bench Joe, cut Herb. Plain and simple, man. Like the Lamar conversation I've just brought up with Herbert. Lamar been going through this for years, not having a top target, not playing with a top receiver, and there was no excuses for him. It was like, hey, you do better, Lamar. It's you. It's on you that you lost this. It's on you, not the receivers. And I feel like it got to be the same with Herb. And Joe, man, one of the guys already went to the Super Bowl, been one of my favorite quarterbacks ever since coming into the league. I got him right there on the bench, so that's me.
So we're doing, okay, so start, bench, cut, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. I'm going to start Joe Burrow. I'm going to bench Lamar Jackson, and I'm going to cut Justin Herbert. The reason why I'm starting Joe Burrow is because I believe he's like the true franchise quarterback. Like when you have a picture of a franchise quarterback in your head, you think of a guy like Joe Burrow. He has similar. To be honest, he has similar characteristics and traits to Tom Brady. It's pretty much. We're seeing that throughout the entire postseason run where they went to the Super Bowl last year and they lost. Just a guy that, he's accurate. He can get the ball down the field. He can move the chains. But that's why I'm starting Joe Burrow at quarterback. The reason why I'm benching Lamar Jackson and cutting Joe and Justin Herbert is simply because of what you guys just said. Lamar Jackson, he's been dealing with the lack of wide receivers for quite some time now, and it's pretty much in the DNA of the Baltimore Ravens, where they don't necessarily go and get a star wide receiver. We've seen that with Joe Flacco, and now we're seeing it with Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson, his rushing upside, I like that. I like that he's a mobile quarterback, dual threat. He's able to throw the ball, not necessarily be accurate throwing the ball deep, but at the same time, his rushing upside does help a lot, simply because you're always going to need a quarterback that can make plays with his legs and extend drives. 3rd and 3, 3rd and 7. Lamar Jackson, he's capable of trusting himself in that situation to rush for 7-8 yards. And Lamar Jackson, when he's out of that pocket and he's scrambling around, he's capable of not only just getting you those 3 yards, those 7 yards. He's capable of getting you 15, 20 yards because he's so fast and he's so quick. And for Justin Herbert, man, I think Abdi hit it right on the head, man. I haven't necessarily been the biggest fan of Justin Herbert, and this season I have said that the slander was pretty much forced on him simply because of the circumstances that he's in. But at the same time, man, not everything's going to be perfect in the National Football League. You're not going to have the greatest weapons. You're not going to have the greatest goal line. You're not going to have the greatest defense. But how your greatness should overcome everything. And nobody's saying that if you lack 1 out of the 3 or 2 out of the 3 or all 3 to go out and win a Super Bowl. Nobody's saying that. But your play, you can't be the reason why your team is losing. And I feel like there's some situations for the Los Angeles Chargers in some games where Justin Herbert is just not doing enough himself to go get you a win. I believe they didn't score a single point in that second half against the San Francisco 49ers. So you can't come out and do that if you want to win football games. It's just unacceptable. So for me, I'm cutting Justin Herbert, benching Lamar Jackson, and I'm starting Joe Burrow. But we'll go ahead and move on to another trio of quarterbacks. Start, bench, cut. Kirk Cousins. Hold on. Start, bench, cut. Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, and Kyler Murray.
Start Captain Kirk, bench Kyler Murray, cut Dak Prescott. I'm starting Captain Kirk because this guy's numbers is just phenomenal. Like when it's not prime time, give me Kirk Cousins over every single quarterback in the National Football League. Just like he always produces. I feel like the slander on Kirk Cousins is just forced. Guhancho was talking about this in the previous episode. I feel like when things go right for the Vikings, Kirk Cousins just never gets credit for it. But as soon as things go bad, Kirk Cousins is the first one to get blamed, and I'm not a fan of that. The reason why I'm benching Kyler Murray and cutting Dak Prescott is because I feel like Dak Prescott has just been like in this league long enough, and like he has shown that capability of being a franchise quarterback at times, but I feel like there's just been years where he's been in literally the perfect situation. Offensive line, amazing. Running back situation, amazing. Wide receivers, great. And he hasn't produced anything with it, right? Kyler Murray, I get it that there's question marks about him being a leader and just overall him as a player, but I feel like he has a lot more talent than what Dak Prescott possesses. And I don't know, like with Dak Prescott, like even this last game that I watched versus the Packers, like the 2 picks were just terrifying. They're just awful. And there's that year where they were like 8-8, and this guy was just great against teams that are below 500, and then garbage against teams that are above 500. Like he's never been a guy that rises to the occasion. So I'd rather prefer Kyler Murray in this situation than Dak Prescott.
It's crazy to say that Dak never has risen to the situation. I say the same about Kyler Murray, but we're gonna keep pushing. So I'm rocking with Captain Kirk, Mr. Chain Man, flexed up, diamonds all on his neck right now. This year he's been cooking, not too many bad games, but had a lot of great games so far. So I'm gonna go with Kirk. I'm gonna start him. I'm gonna bench my guy Dak, and I'm gonna cut Mr. Call of Duty. Call of Duty doesn't show me anything on the field. He doesn't bring anything. Offensively, it's crap. He can't read through progressions. He's an erratic player, and he beefs with the coaches and his own teammates. Yeah, it's not a guy that I want to, lead my franchise, and it's not a guy that I want to control my team and lead my team. He's not a leader. He's not a great quarterback. I don't think he's a good quarterback, so we're gonna cut the leash on him.
I'm going to start my quarterback, Kirk Cousins. I'm going to bench Dak Prescott, and I'm going to cut Kyler Murray. I think we're all on the same page on this one. Kirk Cousins, man.
Nah,
That's.
I'd be picked to cut Dak. You know,
Ooh, we're cutting Dak in this one. Okay.
I'd be cut Dak.
I cut Dak in
I
this
pick
one.
Murray. I cut Murray, but
Okay. But I think we're pretty much starting the same quarterback, Kirk Cousins, man. That's my QB, and with the way he's been playing, and forget about what he did in on the Washington Commanders back then. They were the Redskins, but now what he's doing with the Minnesota Vikings, yeah, of course, I've been very critical about him. It's pretty much a love-hate relationship with that guy. Some days you love him, some days you hate him, but at the end of the day, sometimes he's just good enough to get the job done. And I feel like last year he was good. He had amazing numbers. I think he only threw 7 interceptions. I think this year the turnovers are a little bit up, but at the same time, he's controlling the game. There's not a lot of you don't necessarily see him rattled unless it's on prime time, and we haven't been on prime time in quite some time. So whenever he's not on prime time, he's cash money, and I can trust him to lead my team to wins. And if I don't want to think too far ahead about playoffs and stuff like that, because I've seen him win playoff games. I've seen him go down in New Orleans and marches down the field and throw Kyle Rudolph a touchdown in the back of the end zone to walk us off versus the Saints. So go ahead. I'm going to start Kirk Cousins. The reason why I'm benching Dak Prescott simply because I do believe he's a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. And yeah, I kind of understand why Abdi would cut him because like sometimes the situation has always been perfect for Dak and he just hasn't elevated his game. He hasn't stepped up and been like these other quarterbacks where when you put them in those situations, they elevate their game. Sometimes the defense has been amazing for them and the run game has been going for them, but Dak Prescott's not going for them. And I feel like that was the case last year against the San Francisco 49ers, where you come in there and of course the Niners have a good defense and their offense was rolling on the backs of Deebo Samuel being a wide back. But Dak Prescott was good enough to win that. He should have been good enough to win that game at home, especially with you're going up against Jimmy G and you're at home. You should be able to at least put up some good enough numbers to at least not have the game fall on your shoulders, because that I feel like that game was entirely on Dak Prescott and nobody else. And the reason why I'm cutting Kyler Murray, man, simply because his work ethic, bro, and just the whole clause in his contract that got removed at the end, where you got to watch 4 hours of film, and him being, like Big H said, him being erratic in the pocket, like once the pocket collapses just to like a tad bit, it could be like the slightest pocket collapsing you can ever see in the game. Kyler Murray, he's gonna just turn around and try to find some guy down the field, and he just wastes too much time, and he doesn't necessarily make winning plays for your football team, and I necessarily can't trust him as my franchise quarterback. And I think the two guys that I got ahead of him are better than him, just flat out. Simply put, I don't know why the Arizona Cardinals paid him this much money, and to be honest, if we're keeping it real, man, Cliff Kingsbury, he deserves some of the blame, but Kyler Murray is just right there with him. But of course, when you're on the hot seat and your team's not doing so well, they're always going to remove the head coach first, and then they're going to evaluate the quarterback. So they're going to get rid of Kingsbury this offseason. They're going to bring in a new head coach, and they're going to hope that Kyler Murray is able to turn it around. But that's why I'm cutting Kyler Murray. But we'll go ahead and move on to our running backs. Start bench cut Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, and Saquon Barkley.
Start Saquon Barkley, bench Nick Chubb, cut Derrick Henry. This one was a very tough one for me. This one, my start wasn't that tough. I'll be honest here. My start was not that tough. I went with Saquon Barkley because of the versatility as a running back. I just love the fact that this guy's an amazing runner and he's also an amazing pass catcher. I just feel like he's been having an absolute stellar year. And he's just been carrying that Giants team on his back. This one was a bit tough for me, the benching and the cutting. I benched Nick Chubb just because I feel like when Nick Chubb is on the field, I feel like he's going to get you 7 yards almost every single time, right? He's just going to get you 7 yards. And no matter if you give him 10 carries, you give him 20 carries, he's going to average about 7 yards per carry. With Derrick Henry, like it's literally splitting hairs with these two for me, because Derrick Henry, he's a lot more higher on volume. He takes a lot of more carries, but he is capable of just literally getting 30 carries a game and carrying that Titans team. Like we saw it the last 2 years. Even when he got injured, of course the team was able to step up, but like he wasn't healthy come playoff time, and that was the difference for them. And I feel like it's splitting hairs, but give me the running back that's a little bit more explosive as of right now, and doesn't require as much carries, and your offense can be a little bit more diverse compared to the Titans. I feel like the Titans' lack of offensive diversity might be because of surrounding Derrick Henry, building an offense based on him. But yeah, it's splitting hairs. But give me Nick Chubb. I'm gonna bench Nick Chubb, and then I'm gonna cut Derrick Henry.
I'm gonna go with Saquon just off because he's a dual threat back. He can get catches and he can run the ball. And like you said, it's a split hair between these two, but I got to go with the guy that was made in the laboratory, like Derrick Henry. You don't see those type of guys as a running back, like 6'3", 235, all muscle and just trudging through the holes like that. It's crazy. So I'm going to go with the man-made laboratory alien, Derrick Henry, on my bench, and I'm going to cut Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a fantastic running back, but I just feel as a pure runner between the two, I'm going to take Henry.
I'm going to start Derrick Henry. I'm going to bench Nick Chubb, and I'm going to cut Saquon Barkley. I mean, it's kind of crazy you guys are disrespecting Henry just a tad bit. I know the two of the running backs I named are amazing as well. No disrespect to them, but Derrick Henry is great at one thing, and that's rushing the football. And he's now, as of late, they've been trying to turn him into a little bit of a pass catcher, and he's starting to catch the ball a lot more. We've been seeing it this entire season, but there's one running back I want on my franchise. It's simply Derrick Henry, because I can trust him with 30, 35 touches a game and not have to worry about him breaking down or him, getting hurt and stuff like that. And the reason why I'm benching Nick Chubb is because I feel like he's similar to Derrick Henry, because those guys are the top two rushers in the National Football League. But the thing is, Nick Chubb, he brings you zero upside in receiving, but he's so good at breaking tackles and yards after contact that it's like it doesn't necessarily even matter if he can't catch the football, because like if Nick Chubb gets a nice hole going for him, he gets a guaranteed he's going to break out for 15, 20 yards. And he's always doing that week in and week out. And for Saquon Barkley, man, I just feel like he's having a great year, and I love what I'm seeing from him, and I respect it. But just in terms of he's like dual threat running back, he can catch the ball, he can run the ball. But I just feel like I'd much rather have the guy who's elite and just greater at one thing than kind of just being good at both things. It's Saquon Barkley. He's a good rusher and he's a good receiver. It's like I wouldn't necessarily go as far as say he's a great rusher.
He is leading the NFL in rushing yards, so there's that.
I mean, sometimes it just happens, man.
He is leading it.
This is the year where he wanted to prove a lot of people wrong, so he's got a chip on his shoulder. But I wouldn't go as far as to say he's up there in terms of rushing wise. In terms of rushing wise, up there with guys like Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry. So go ahead and cut Saquon Barkley. But we'll go ahead and move on to our receivers. Start, bench, cut Justin Jefferson, Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill.
This is the craziest one. This one is so hard for me, but call it bias, but start Davante Adams, bench Justin Jefferson, and cut Tyreek Hill. Like this, to me, it's like when you go into a store and you have like all these different candies in front of you and you just don't know which one to pick. Like all three of these wide receivers, like to me, they're the top three wide receivers in the NFL. There's a reason why we're doing the start bench cut with these three. The reason why I'm starting Davante Adams is just, to me, he's still the best wide receiver in the NFL. And I understand he's kind of going under the radar this season, which is crazy to say for Davante Adams because he's been overshadowed by these two guys, but he's still been producing at an elite level, even with a dysfunctional team like the Las Vegas Raiders. But Davante Adams to me is just still unstoppable as a wide receiver. Like one-on-one, if there's one guy I'm putting up against your best cornerback and I feel like he's just going to win every single route, it's going to be Davante Adams for me. And that's the reason why I'm biased in this one. Like I watched him for years as a Green Bay Packer just absolutely dominate cornerbacks. And so I got to go with Davante Adams in this one. The benching, I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson, the guy who's been right on Davante Adams' tail in this division. Last year, we saw how amazing he should have been an all-pro, in my opinion. I'm surprised they gave it to a wide back, but that's a different discussion. But Justin Jefferson, like these last 3 years, they've probably the best we've ever seen from a wide receiver, like ever, like in terms of just production, like week in and week out. Like I mentioned every single episode, 100 yards is a quiet game for Justin Jefferson. 150 is when people start to notice him again. That's how crazy his production has been. And then Tyreek Hill, like like cutting him, like I feel like people are gonna take this as like when we cut these guys, it's like, yo, we don't rate these guys, we don't think they're good. But it's just like with Tyreek Hill, I don't know. I feel like with Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson, they can win at all three levels at like an elite, like to an elite standards. Like Tyreek Hill, I get it. To me, if you want to mention it, like Tyreek Hill is probably the most dangerous wide receiver in the NFL. I don't know if you guys agree, but he's probably the most dangerous wide receiver in the NFL just because I feel like if he just gets open 60 yards, that's a touchdown easily. Like guys like him, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, they're explosive. They just get open. But at the same time, I love a guy that can win all three levels. And that's what I get with Devontae Adams and Justin Jefferson. So I have to cut Tyreek Hill on this one, but I love all three. They're amazing wide receivers, but I'm biased to Devontae. So those are my three.
Very biased. Very, very biased. And if we're basing it off of this year, I'm starting Tyreek. I'm benching JJ, and I got to cut Devontae. Devontae, man, I love that guy, but just off of this year, Tyreek and JJ have been another, like, different beasts. Like, they've been on different levels. And Tyreek over here, he's about to break Calvin Johnson's record. Something we haven't seen happen in a while. And people didn't expect this. Like, we came into the season expecting, hey, who's going to throw the ball to Tyreek? Tua doesn't have an arm. Tua's not a good quarterback. Tua's this. Tyreek doesn't have Mahomes. He's playing better with Tua than he's playing with Mahomes, though. So for me, Tyreek got to be started. And then JJ, he's on pace. I feel like on pace for 2K, and he's having another fantastic year. I mean, this is what, his third year in the league, if I'm correct. 30 year in the league, and he's on pace for another above a 1,500 yard season. So he's number 2 for me. Then I just feel sorry for Devontae, man. It's just Derek Carr and the situation he's in. He's still a fantastic receiver right now. I'm pretty sure he's sitting at like 760 yards and like 6 touchdowns or 7 touchdowns, if I'm not too correct. But I got to cut him with these 2 guys balling out in front of him.
Start Justin Jefferson, bench Devontae Adams, and cut Tyreek Hill. I've been trying to preach throughout the entire offseason, maybe a little bit towards the end of the last season, that Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in all of football. And if somebody were to sit here and argue with me that Devontae Adams is better, I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't argue because I know what Devontae Adams is about. I don't care what's going on with the Las Vegas Raiders this year in terms of wins and losses. I know who Devontae Adams is as a wide receiver. But this is Justin Jefferson. This is Justin Jefferson's time. This is his time to step up and be the best receiver in the league. And I feel like just this based off this entire season and the last 2 years, he's done that. He's put up crazy numbers. I believe he has 20 games. He's the youngest guy to reach 100 yards in 20 games through 3 seasons. He surpassed Randy Moss on Sunday. Justin Jefferson, he's one hell of a talent. There's literally no way you can guard Justin Jefferson without having to put 2-3 guys on him. And for Devontae Adams, I'm very, very familiar with Devontae Adams simply because I'm a Vikings fan. So he's killed my team time and time again. He's legit. He's had fun. Like whenever he plays the Vikings, he's like a kid playing outside on a Saturday afternoon. Him and Aaron Rodgers playing catch together. But we know what Devontae Adams is about. He's the best route runner in all of football. And just excuse what's going on with the Las Vegas Raiders this year. If Devontae Adams had a better quarterback than Derek Carr, he'd be right up there in terms of yardage with Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill. So, and for Tyreek Hill, like Abdi said, man, people are gonna come in here and think like we don't rate these guys like we don't rate a guy like Tyreek Hill, man. I'm right there with you, man. I believe he's the deadliest wide receiver in the league because not only is he's so fast and he can beat you over the top, and you have to play double coverage on him. You have to put the DB on him and the safety over the top. But even when you throw him a little slant, he could take that slant 30, 40 yards and potentially could be another touchdown for you. So even just the yak when it comes to Tyreek Hill, it's insane. So Tyreek Hill, he's having himself one hell of a season. And like Abdi said, man, there's a reason why we have these 3 guys in a discussion like this because they stand alone, head over shoulders over the rest of the wide receivers in the NFL. So I'm going to have to, unfortunately, cut Tyreek Hill in this spot. We'll go ahead and move on to our last group of wide receivers. We have start, bench, cut, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, and Jamar Chase.
Start Jamar Chase. Bench Stephon Diggs. Cut DeAndre Hopkins. This one, the reason why I wanted to start Jamar Chase is just that explosive ability is just unmatched. Only guy that I know that has a better explosive ability than this guy after the catches to me is Tyreek Hill. That's about it. how many times have we seen these last couple of years that he's played, so including this year and his rookie season, where you just throw this guy a 10-yard pass and he just takes it to the house, like simple as that, breaks multiple tackles. Like how many times have we seen him just take a slant to the crib, or you throw a deep ball to him, like Jamar Chase, like I mentioned this earlier, him, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill, guys like that are just scary to play against. Like you have to be mindful where they're at, because one little play and one little mishap and they're taking it to the house. And we see the difference with the Bengals offense when he's there and when he's not there. Like they just lack that over the top wide receiver, that explosive playability. Just a guy that dominated the playoffs. So I'm gonna start Jamar Chase. I'm gonna bench Stephon Diggs. He's Mr. Consistent to me, just Mr. Consistent. The guy, he's gonna get you like similar to Justin Jefferson. He's gonna get you your 100 yards every week. He had a good game against the Vikings. He had a bunch of big catches, and I feel like this guy just steps up. The only thing that I wasn't a fan of last year was the playoff game. Well, I think he had 7 or 10 yards in a playoff game, which is unacceptable for a guy like Stephon Diggs. But when we talk about elite route runners, he's up there with the best of them. Like with guys like Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen. When it comes to route running, he's up there with the best of them. So give me him. And the reason why I have Hopkins, I'm gonna cut him, it's because I feel like the last couple of years, whether that's a combination of quarterback play and of course his suspension, like Hopkins hasn't been the Hopkins of old. Of course, I'm not saying he's anything like he's washed or anything. I think he's still elite, but like the production hasn't been there like these two guys because of their quarterback play again, and just he hasn't been on the field as much as them. So DeAndre Hopkins, of course, he's good enough to be up there with the rest of these guys, but until then, I have to cut him.
So I'm gonna start Stephon Diggs. I feel like this guy's creeping into that category with JJ, DA, and Hill. Like we're kind of sleeping on the production that he's been putting on these last couple of years, especially this year. He's been playing great too. So for me, out of these three, I'm gonna start Diggs. I'm gonna bench Chase, one of the most explosive receivers, like Abdi said, to come out of the draft and to be in the NFL right now, right behind Tyreek Hill. And he's playing phenomenally well. Due to this year is kind of slow due to some injuries. Now he's missed a couple weeks, but he would have been up there in the stats. And I'm a cut Hopkins just because of the injuries, the quarterback play, and his suspension the last couple of years. I mean, I feel like Hopkins still a top receiver, but I feel like he's never been granted a top quarterback other than Watson for 1 or 2 years. Other than that, he's been balling with some horrible quarterbacks, but I feel like he's coming towards the end of his career, so cut my guy D-Hop.
I'm gonna go. I'll start Stephon Diggs. I'm going to bench DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to cut Jamar Chase. You guys have all hit around the head when it comes to Stephon Diggs being consistent, being one of the best route runners in the league. Stephon Diggs played for my team. I believe he was a 5th, 4th round pick, maybe even a 6th round pick. I don't necessarily remember it correctly, but he was one of those late guys that came onto the scene and just dominated when the opportunity came to him. So the Stephon Diggs, he should arguably be up there for one of those top 3 guys we talked about earlier, JJ, DA, and Hill. But I just don't know what it is. I think it's probably the playoff performances that leave a sour taste in our mouth, simply because you want to go back to the Kansas City Chiefs game, and you don't necessarily show up, and Gabe Davis has one hell of a day for himself. Like we just kind of need to see more of Stephon Diggs on the big stage with the Buffalo Bills, because of course we know what the Minneapolis Miracle was back in this time in the Minnesota Vikings, and DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like the disrespect for him and it's a lot right now. I wouldn't necessarily call it disrespect, to be honest. It just people are overlooking him. DeAndre Hopkins has played with at least 7, 8, 9 different quarterbacks, and the production is still there. It's not what we're seeing now from these top guys, where guys are going over 1,400 yards like it's nothing. But back in the day, back when when going over 1,200, 1,300 yards was a crazy season for a receiver, DeAndre Hopkins was doing that with guys like Brian Hoyer. He was doing it with guys like Brock Osweiler, Deshaun Watson, right? Tom Savage. Like, he's been in terrible situations, but time and time again, DeAndre Hopkins would always step up. It's just like how we asked Justin Herbert to step up when the situation isn't right for you. DeAndre Hopkins, as a wide receiver, he stepped up even when the situation wasn't right for him. A lot of these elite wide receivers are not going to show up when you have Tom Savage throwing you the football. It's just the truth. Like we have to keep it real with ourselves. And DeAndre Hopkins, he's one of those guys that it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball because he's gonna get open. He's an elite route runner, and his hands are one of the best in the league. He doesn't really drop the ball. I believe he went an entire season without dropping a pass. So I'm gonna bench him. And cutting Jamar Chase is kind of similar to Tyreek Hill. You know, Jamar Chase. He's a very, very explosive guy, and he's part of the reason why the Cincinnati Bengals are so successful. His chemistry with Joe Burrow is off the charts. They're very, very familiar with each other from their time in LSU. But Jamar Chase, you know, we've seen him in the playoffs. You know, he stepped up big in certain spots, and you know, even in the Super Bowl where he beat Jalen Ramsey for a big play, and maybe it could have ended off in a touchdown. Who knows, right? But I feel like I need to see a little bit more of Jamar Chase because like I wouldn't. It's like it's just tough having to cut either one of these guys. But if I had to, I would just go Chase simply because I need to see him be a little more consistent. Consistency is something that Jamar Chase is lacking. Like when it comes to guys like Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, those guys are consistent as it gets. And Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins, you could throw them in there as well in that discussion. But for Jamar Chase, even with him breaking out and coming onto the scene last year, you know, we hear about the games where he had over 200 yards against the Kansas City Chiefs or 180 yards against the Baltimore Ravens. What about those games where he was only getting 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards, you know, just those quiet games when they were still getting wins, right? So just the consistency from Jamar Chase is something I need to see a little more from him. So, but he's one hell of a receiver. He inserted himself into the top 5 discussion in just one season alone. So I'm pretty sure, I mean, I believe the sky's the limit for him. So once he comes back, he's just going to pick up right where he left off. So I'm going to have to cut Jamar Chase. But before we sign off here, I do want to say this one thing. If we were to take out DeAndre Hopkins and add Cooper Kupp into this discussion where it's just Diggs, Kupp, and Chase, who are we going with that? Where are we inserting Kupp?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I have mixed feelings about Cooper Kupp, man. Like, the playoffs was just amazing for him. But at the same time, I felt like I just like a guy that goes mano y mano. Like, your best cornerback versus my best wide receiver. Like, and it's, I don't know. Like, I'm.
And then you can't rate Jair like that.
What are you talking about?
What do you mean talking about? Guarding Diggs 1 play, guarding Jefferson 2 plays?
Have I raved about Jair this season?
You raved about Jair. You still call him a top 5 cornerback, yes or no?
Of course, 100%. I do.
Similar
to how you would call Jalen Ramsey a top 5 quarterback this season, even though he hasn't played like when he's been quiet.
I don't know. I don't know if I call Jalen Ramsey a top 5 cornerback.
That's crazy.
That's just me though. I got something against the Rams though.
That's crazy though.
It's
like
different.
you would, like the thing is, though, Cooper Kupp's lining up. Like how is that? Like how can you put him next to guys that are lining up against their best?
Done for his team though. That's his job.
You're going up. You're going up against a third like cornerback, or you're going up against a linebacker, and you're getting schemed perfectly. Like, I don't know. Like I like a guy that goes mano y mano, like your best corner and my best wide receiver. Like I respect that a lot more. And like with Cooper Kupp, at the same time, his production is consistent, but at the same time, how much of that is actually skill versus how much of that is actually scheme. So, like, I think I'm gonna cut Cooper Kupp.
I think I'm gonna put him on the bench. I'm gonna cut Chase.
That's ridiculous, man. That is ridiculous.
Cooper Kupp, if he finished off the season this year, he still was going to be well above 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns. And that's what we asked from him at the beginning of the season, to show that same consistency back to back years, right? If it wasn't for the injury, he was going to hit that. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that is true, but at the same time, it's like Cooper Kupp, he was on pace to, of course, 1,400 yards and double-digit touchdowns. Like, I think this is something what Abdi's saying right now is something I've been saying is entirety of last season and throughout the offseason. It's just he's a slot receiver, man. He's not lining up on the outside and making big plays. Tell the
defense switch their defense up, man. Tell them to switch it up.
It's just not common.
Like the guy that didn't get credit enough in that Super Bowl run was Odell Beckham Jr. That's the guy that did not get credit enough because he was winning on the outside, and that opened up a lot for the Rams. Like he was well on his way to winning that Super Bowl MVP. I hope you guys are aware of that. If that guy did not get injured, he was well on his way. And I feel like he doesn't get enough credit during that Super Bowl run. And it's just like, okay, now Cooper Kupp is just going up against your third. Like, I don't know. Like, I like a wide receiver to go up against my best corner. Like, I'm just a fan of traditional football. Call it being an old timer. Call it liking old football. Like, I just like a guy that goes up against my best cornerback.
That's what I said, man. I'm gonna have to move Chase up. I'll bench him in this situation. I'm gonna have to cut Cooper Cup. I'm gonna stand on my word when it comes to Cooper Cup, man. Until I see him work on the outside. He's worked on the consistency. That's he checked off one of the boxes. But when you need to play on the outside and you're lining up against the best DBs in the game, are you able to make a play? And I just feel like we don't see that often from Cooper Cup. We see him dominate in the slot and get a lot of targets in that position from Matthew Stafford. But working on the outside, there's a lot of receivers that can do what Cooper Cup's doing if you put him in that situation. Like I was trying to say in the offseason, Justin Jefferson can do exactly what Cooper Cup's doing. A lot better because Justin Jefferson, you can line him up everywhere. It's not going to be a problem. Cooper Cup, I just don't think you're capable of doing that. But I also have another question. Where do you guys think Odell should go once he decides to go somewhere? Where do you think is the best fit for Odell Beckham Jr.?
You know I'm gonna say my team, right?
I'm gonna say the Giants.
I'm gonna be biased and I'm gonna say my team.
I'm gonna say the Giants.
He needs to come to the Green Bay Packers, man.
I don't even think the Packers are on his list of teams though. I think the Buffalo Bills are there. Cowboys.
We were previously, like before.
He's cut that list down to
I don't think
4
he wants.
teams
Yeah,
now.
I don't think he wants to go to the Packers anymore. I ain't gonna lie.
It's Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, and San Francisco 49ers. So it's the Magic 5.
I can say.
I would say the Cowboys.
Cowboys would be a good. Out of that.
The Cowboys would be a good fit. I feel like the Cowboys would be they're lacking a second wide receiver.
I honestly think if you put Odell Beckham Jr. on this 49ers offense, it's a Super Bowl waiting to happen.
I think it's an overkill, man.
Though. It's like overkill. You got
Jimmy G's not gonna. It's too much for him, bro. He can't handle it
because just trying to picture Jimmy G with all those weapons. If you add a guy like Odell Beckham, but you gotta think about it when it comes to like Super Bowl odds and stuff like that. The Niners, we know they're once they make the playoffs, they're always a team that's going to be there. They have an elite defense, and their run game with Christian McCaffrey is going to be the best in the National Football League moving forward. But you add in a guy like Odell Beckham, Brandon Ayuk, he stepped into in a bigger role this season. He's out of the doghouse, like I said, earlier on in the season. And Deebo Samuel, when you have to have him, when you need him to line up on the outside, he's not really as successful as he was last year, where he was a Swiss Army knife. You can line him up pretty much everywhere, and teams were pretty much confused as to what they're going up against. But I feel like if you add Odell Beckham into this offense, because Odell Beckham he's a guy that can beat you over the top, and he's also a guy that can take a 5-yard slant 60 yards to the crib. And Jimmy G, he's capable of throwing those 5 yards, So I think I would want him to go to the Niners. Of course, the Kansas City Chiefs are.
I think the Chiefs a little bit too much, though. I think the teams like the Chiefs and the Niners, I think that's a little bit too much.
I think it's between the Cowboys and the Giants. I ain't gonna lie.
I really think it's really between those two. But part of me thinks does OBJ really want to sign with the Cowboys? I mean, do you think he still has love for New York that he wouldn't do that?
I don't know, man. I mean, they're reaching out to him. I heard Zeke was reaching out to him. Michael Parsons reaching out to him. Dak Prescott. So I know, of course, they really, really want him because they need him in that offense. But of course, turning your back on the New York Giants, it's a tough thing that he's going to have to do, or he might do. I'm not necessarily sure what he's going to do. But if you throw him on the Buffalo Bills, I mean, I kind of think that's overkill because you already have Stephon Diggs, you already have Gabe Davis, and then they don't necessarily run the ball. Josh Allen's a running back, and you add Odell Beckham to that. How's that gonna work? I just don't know. So I'll go ahead. Chiefs are a good one because they don't necessarily have a wide receiver one, and Mahomes is still making it work, sitting with a record of 7-2. The Giants, I'm not too sure how successful the Giants are going to be in the postseason. So I don't understand why he'd go back. I understand that he played for them, but it wouldn't make any sense if you want to win a Super Bowl. Odell's thinking about what team gives me the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl right now. And I feel like there's only 2 or 3 teams that he can really narrow it down to. It's the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Niners. The Dallas Cowboys, they have holes defensively, but they need a wide receiver. And the Bills, I feel like they're well-rounded. Their defense is going to get healthy. They're going to be right there. And they already have 2 guys, Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, and the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, with Mahomes, like I said. And the Niners are always going to be there as well. So I feel like those are the 3 teams he should narrow it down to. But I understand his love for the New York Giants, so it makes sense. But with that being said, any final words, Phil, before we wrap things up and close things out?
Gonna be another win for the Green Bay Packers. Do not
Bye
be
week.
surprised.
I'm chilling this week. Hope both our teams lose. So let's go.
But you picked my team in the window.
Hey, backdoor. I don't like y'all like that.
I'm looking forward to another week of football. Also, be on the lookout for our NBA episode dropping on Sunday. The schedule for that is going to be every other weekend, every other Sunday, where we just talk about all things basketball. So be on the lookout for that, like I said. But once again, thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Really appreciate your love and support. We'd greatly appreciate it if you like, commented, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at New Media Podcast. For those of you that are watching us on YouTube, all of our social media handles will be in the beginning of this video. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, if you go to our Instagram page at New Media Podcast, you'll be able to navigate yourself to all of our social media handles there. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now Lakes, now that's overkill.